اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أزع له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحت كل اسم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لكل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن تزعني شكرك وأن تلحمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع متضرع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوب غافرا ولا لقبائح ساترا ولا لشيء من عمل الخبيب الحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي وتجرحت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من خبي سترته وكم من فاده من البلاء أقلته وكم من إثار وقيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم أعظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وخسرت بي أعمالي وقدت بي أغلالي وأبسني النفي بعد أعمالي وقدتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بخيانتها ومتعالي يا سيدي. فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك الدعاء سوء عملي وفعلي ولا تفزحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فهلي وساتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي، وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا، وعلي في جميع الأمور يتوفا. إلهي ومولاي وربي، من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي، أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي، فغرني بما أهوى وسد على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك، وخالفت بعض أوامرك، فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك، ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي في قضاؤك، والزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي، معتذرا نادما منكسرا، مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا، مقرا مذعنا معترفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري، وفكني من شد وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني، يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني، يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني، ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي. يا من بدا خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي، هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي، أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد ما انطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهج به لساني من ذكرك، واهتقد ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق الترافي ودعائه خاضعا لربوبيتك، هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تزي من ربيت، أو تبعد من أدنيت، أو تشرد من آويت، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شيري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه قرت لعظمتك ساجدة، وعلى ألسن نطق بتوحيدك صادقة، وبشكرك مادحة، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة، وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة، وعلى جوارح سات الأوطان تعبدك طائعة، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة ما هكذا الظن بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم. يا ربي وأنت تعلم، يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكروه، يسير بقاه قصير مدته، فكيف احتمالي للبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها زج وأبكي، لأليم العذاب وشدة أمله. فلئن سيرتني في العقوبات مع أعدائك، وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك، وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فابني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي، صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك فكيف أصبر على فراقك وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجاء عفوك فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأزجن إليك بين أهلها زجيج العاملين ولا أصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولا أبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين ولو نادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية أعمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفتي وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يزج إليك زجيج مؤمل لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك ورأفتك ورحمتك أم كيف تهلهم النار وهو يعمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يرزقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه أم كيف تشجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما أمرت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تهذيب جاهديك وقضيت به من إقلاد معانديك لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأ من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدعا وتطولت بالنعم متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل خبيث أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي وكنت أنت رقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أكفيته وبفضلك سترته وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلته أو إحسان فضلته أو بر نشرته أو رزق بسطته أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي يا من بيدي ناصيتي عليما بزري ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك ومأمورة وبخدمتك الموصولة كن أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا يا من عليه مولي يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب قوي على خدمتك جوارحي واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي وفي الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أسرع إليك في ميادين السابقين في مبادرين واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بالسوء فارد ومن كادني فكد واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نسيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة منك وأخسهم زلفة لديك فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجدلي بجودك وفزني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما ومن علي بحسن اغفر لي زلتي فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك أنت لهم الإجابة فإليك يا ربي نسبت وجهي وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي الدعاء وبلغني منايا ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه الدواء يا من اسمه الدواء وذكره الشفاء يا من اسمه الدواء وذكره الشفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم من راس ماله الرجاء وصلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النقم يا نور المستهيشين في الظلم يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وفل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسول الأئمة الميامين من علي وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. नहीं पानी बस صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يوصينا معه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون الذي لا يدركه بهد الهمم ولا يناله غوث الفتن الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت محدود ولا أجل ممدود فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته ووتد بالسخر ميدان أرض ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبنا وحبيب رب العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن على أعدائهم أجمعين من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعاديات ضبحا فالموريات قدحا فالمغيرات صبحا فأثرن به نقعا فوسطن به جمعا إن الإنسان لربه لكنود وإنه على ذلك لشهيد وإنه لحب الخير لشديد ما في القبور وحصل ما في الصدور إن ربهم بهم يومئذ لخبير صدق الله العلي العظيم. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And as I said last week or last Thursday, that inshallah, until my father comes back, we were going to do the tafsir of some of the smaller surahs in the Quran, and inshallah we'd look at the tafsir of Surah Al-Adiyat. And when it comes to the surah, 11 verses for the surah, and the merits of the surah, and I had given one merit of the surah last week where Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that whoever recites Surah Al-Adiyat and they're habitual in reciting it, meaning that they continue to recite Surah Al-Adiyat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect him with Amir al-Mu'mineen on the Day of Judgment. Not only will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resurrect this individual with Amir al-Mu'mineen, but he would be under Amir al-Mu'mineen's protection and he would be considered to be a friend of Allah. That individual who recites Surah Al-Adiyat. Why is it that of all the surahs, it's this surah that is attached to Amir al-Mu'mineen? Why is it that reciting this surah will resurrect an individual with Amir al-Mu'mineen? Reciting this surah will resurrect an individual with Amir al-Mu'mineen. Why is it that reciting this surah will make a person a companion or a friend of Amir al-Mu'mineen? You have the whole Quran. You have all the other surahs, Surah Al-Baqarah. The fazail of Amir al-Mu'mineen, they are in every single chapter, or they are in every single chapter or surah of the Quran. They're hidden in every surah of the Quran. So why is it that Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam says that whoever recites this surah, what's so special about this surah? And that's what I want to get into. Why? Because doing the tafsir of the surah, you have to go back to the reason for the revelation of the surah. And what was the reason for the revelation of the surah? One. Two, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that anyone who's afraid of something, if they recite this surah, that fear would go away. Anyone who recites this surah out of hunger, their hunger will subside. Anyone who recites this surah habitually and they're in debt, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take away that debt. The fazail of reciting the surah. The Holy Prophet himself, he says that one who recites Surah Al-Adiyat would be given rewards that amount to all of the people that attend gatherings in the time of Hajj. 10 times the amount of people that attend gatherings in the time of Hajj. And the Holy Prophet himself, he says that one who recites this surah would be given reward as if they... Reciting this surah one time, the Holy Prophet says that you'll be given the reward for reciting the whole Quran. This fazilat of it being recited, for it being considered for you to recite the whole Quran, I have not seen this fazilat for any other surah. When you look at the fazilat, for example, for Surah Al-Ikhlas, Surah Qul Huwallah, the Holy Prophet says that anyone that recites Surah Al-Ikhlas one time is as if they've recited the Quran or half the Quran. Surah Al-Ikhlas is what? Nothing but the testimony or shahadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah Al-Ikhlas is nothing but the testimony or the shahadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah Al-Ikhlas is our belief of Tawheed. Yet when it comes to the reward of reciting that surah, it's only as if you've recited the Quran or half the Quran. But when it comes to reciting this surah, the Holy Prophet says that it's as if you've recited the whole Quran. Why is that? That's what I want to look into. And when it comes to the reason for the revelation of this Quran or this surah, even when it comes to this, when it was revealed, some mufassirin, they say that it was revealed in Mecca. Other mufassirin say no, it was revealed in Medina. And why do they say that it was revealed in Mecca? If you look at the last chapter of the Quran or the last juz of the Quran, all the smaller surahs, a lot of the mufassirin, they say that a lot of them, they were revealed in Mecca. Those smaller surahs, they were easier for people to remember, so they were revealed in, one of the reasons is that they were easier to remember, so they were revealed in Mecca. Two, the surahs that were revealed in Medina, they dealt with siyam. They dealt with fasting, they dealt with zakat, they dealt with khums, they dealt with all of these faruddin. The surahs that were revealed in Mecca, they dealt with just the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They dealt with the beliefs of Islam. Not the acts of Islam, but the beliefs of Islam. Yes, there were some verses that talked about some of the acts, but those acts did not become wajib until the Holy Prophet came to Medina. So because this is in the last juz of the Quran, and because it deals with, in some aspects, about the akhirah and what will happen to mankind in akhirah, some of the mufassirin, they say that this chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Adiyat, it was revealed in Makkah. But other mufassirin, they say no, this was not revealed in Makkah. Yes, it deals with some of that stuff, but it's not necessary that everything or every time the Quran speaks about akhirah, that means that these verses were revealed in Makkah. No, it's not necessary. Yes, it does deal with akhirah. But they say that the reason for the revelation of these verses or this surah was because of a battle that took place. And the Holy Prophet did not fight any battles until he came to Medina. As long as the Holy Prophet was in Mecca, there was no battle that was fought. He didn't fight the mushrikeen of Mecca as long as he was in Mecca. But once he migrated and the mushrikeen followed him and they wanted to annihilate him and kill him and destroy Islam, that's when he rose up. But when it comes to this surah, the mufassirin, they say that it was revealed after the battle, or some of the verses were revealed after the battle of Zatul Salasil, some of the verses were revealed before, meaning that this surah was revealed for the battle of Zatul Salasil. And this battle, the Holy Prophet himself, he says that Jibreel, he came to the Holy Prophet and he told the Holy Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, there are 12,000 people in this valley, and they have made a vow that they will kill you and your cousin Ali ibn Abi Talib. They've made a vow, and there's 12,000 people, they've gathered together, they've made a vow that none of them, if they face either of you in battle, none of them will run away, and they will kill you and your cousin Ali ibn Abi Talib if they ever face you. And they're ready to attack. They're ready to attack. Jibreel says this. Jibreel says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has ordered you to send Abu Bakr and fight against them with 4,000 individuals. He has ordered you to send Abu Bakr to fight against these 12,000. And what happens? Abu Bakr, when he was sent, the Holy Prophet, he told him, Abu Bakr, your first objective is to go to these people and you invite them to Islam. If they reject, then you have the permission to fight them and destroy them and kill them. Not only kill them, whatever loot that you get from battle, you have permission to bring that loot back. That is your objective. Correct? Abu Bakr, he goes with 4,000 soldiers. When he goes with 4,000 soldiers, the commanders of that other army, they come forward and they ask, who are you? Abu Bakr, he comes forward and he says to them that I am sent by the Holy Prophet. He has told me to invite you to Islam. And when he says this, the commanders of that army, they say that we have nothing to do with you. You were one of our brothers. What do they say? They say that we swear to Lat and Izzah. We swear to the gods that they used to worship. Lat and Izzah, they were two of the gods that they used to worship. They say, we swear to these gods that you are one of our brothers. Or you were one of our brothers. We have nothing to do with you. We don't want to fight you. But if we do fight you, we will definitely kill you. And we'll make an example out of you. So if you know what's best, just go back. What was the command of the Holy Prophet? If they do not accept Islam, you need to fight them. Abu Bakr, what does he do? He tells his soldiers, okay, we should go back and we should report this to the Holy Prophet. We should go back and we should report this to the Holy Prophet. The soldiers in Abu Bakr's army, they tell him, you've been ordered to fight them. He goes, no, I know better than you. We should go back and we should report to the Holy Prophet. So what do? Those 4,000 soldiers with Abu Bakr, they go back to the Holy Prophet. When they go back to the Holy Prophet rebukes him. He goes on to the minbar and he says to him, Abu Bakr, you disobeyed me and you disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You disobeyed me, you disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now Jibreel has come and he's told me that this was going to happen, and he's told me to send Umar. It's odd that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded them now to go to battle. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded them to go to battle. But they're running away from battle. They were given opportunities throughout their life to prove that they were men. They were given opportunities throughout their life to prove that yes, they were true Muslims. Yet they're running from battle. And now, 1400 years later, the Islamic Ummah, they're talking about the strength of Umar. They're talking about how much of a warrior Abu Bakr and Umar were. Where were they? Umar, he goes with those 4,000 soldiers. When he goes with the 4,000 soldiers, the same commanders of that army, they meet Umar. And they tell Umar the same thing. We don't want to fight you. You are one of us. We only want to kill Ali ibn Abi Talib and the Holy Prophet. Look at what they say. They told Abu Bakr the same thing. That we want to kill the Holy Prophet and Ali ibn Abi Talib. They tell Umar the same thing. We want to kill the Holy Prophet and Ali ibn Abi Talib. If they truly love the Holy Prophet, and these enemies of the Holy Prophet are saying that we want to kill the Holy Prophet, why wouldn't they fight them? Why wouldn't they fight? They're in front of them saying that we want to kill the Holy Prophet. And what does Umar do? He comes back. The same thing that Abu Bakr did. He comes back. When he comes back, the Holy Prophet, he goes on the minbar again and he tells the same thing he said about Umar. He says the same thing that he said about Abu Bakr. He says, Umar, you've disobeyed my command and you've disobeyed the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You've disobeyed the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, Jibreel has come and he's told me to send Ali ibn Abi Talib. And not only has he told me to send Ali ibn Abi Talib, but he's also guaranteed that he would be successful in this battle. He's guaranteed. Abu Bakr, Umar, there was no Usman. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not even feel that Usman was worthy of being commanding this army. Some of the battles, Usman, he came back after 3 days. He ran so far away from battle, he came back after 3 days. These are the warriors of Islam. The one who was truly a warrior of Islam is down here. Down here. But Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he was commanded, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he asked, Ya Rasulullah, what do you command me to do? The Holy Prophet, he said, Ya Ali, I command you to do the same, I give you the same command that I gave Abu Bakr and I gave Umar. You invite them to Islam. If they reject, then you have permission to fight against them. Amir al-Mu'mineen, what does he do? He takes his 4,000 men, but he doesn't go the same way that Abu Bakr and Umar went. The narrations state that he took a different path, and this path was a dangerous path. And because this was a more dangerous path, some of the narrations, they say that Umar As, he was also there. And when he was there, he looked at Abu Bakr, says to him, he knew that the path that Amir al-Mu'mineen was taking them through, he was definitely going to be successful through that path. So he looks at Abu Bakr and he says to Abu Bakr, tell Ali he's young. Tell him that this path is very dangerous for the soldiers. We should go back to the other path. Abu Bakr, what does he do? He comes to Amir al-Mu'mineen. Amir al-Mu'mineen heard this. He comes back to Amir al-Mu'mineen and he says, Ya Ali, go back. We should go back. This is a dangerous path. We should go back, or you should go back and take the same path that I took. Abu Bakr is telling Kulli Iman to take the same path that he took. Why would Amir al-Mu'mineen take that path? Amir al-Mu'mineen, he looked at Abu Bakr and he goes, Abu Bakr, don't worry, I'm the commander now. You do what I tell you to do, you go the way I go. I'm going to go this way. When he says this, Abu Bakr, he goes back and they both stay quiet. When they get there to where the enemy was, the commanders come out and they ask, who are you? That's when Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, I'm Ali ibn Abi Talib. I've come from the Holy Prophet and he's told me that he wants you all to accept Islam. If you don't accept Islam, then we'll have a war. When Amir al-Mu'mineen says this, the commander of the army, they said, you're going to threaten us? We've been wanting to kill you. One of the two people that we want to kill is you. And you're going to threaten us? We have 12,000 people, you have 4,000 people. So what does Amir al-Mu'mineen do? He says, okay, then you need to get ready for battle. They say the same thing. The night passes, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he prays his Fajr Salat. As soon as they were done praying, what do? Amir al-Mu'mineen, he takes his 4,000 men and he attacks that army so severely that the narrations, they say that Amir al-Mu'mineen killed most of them. And not only that, but the people that were alive, he put them in chains. That's why it was known as the Battle of Zatul Salatul. Salatul meaning chains. He put them in chains and he brought them as captives. When he brought them as captives, some of the narrations state that some of these verses of Surah Al-Adiyat were revealed. When he brought them back as captives. 1, 2. When the Holy Prophet knew that Amir al-Mu'mineen was successful and he was bringing back, some of the narrations, they state that Amir al-Mu'mineen, he wanted to get off from his horse. When he wanted to get off from his horse, the Holy Prophet, he goes and he tells Amir al-Mu'mineen, do not get off from your horse. If I was not scared that my ummah would say about you what they said about Isa ibn Maryam, or the ummah of Isa ibn Maryam said about Hazrat Isa, I would have told such merit of yours that people would be bewildered about who you are and what you are. If I wasn't scared that they would start worshipping you, basically. Ya Rasulullah, those merits that you wanted to tell, you didn't tell those merits, but there's still people that worship Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Can you imagine how many more people would have worshipped Amir al-Mu'mineen if the Holy Prophet had decided to talk about those merits? This is the reason for the revelation of these verses. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. But when you look at and you start analyzing the surah, wal adiyati zabhan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this wow here is wow qasam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's swearing. What's he saying? Wal adiyati zabhan. I swear by those horses that pant. I swear by those horses that are panting. What's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doing? He's swearing. I swear by those horses that are panting. I swear by those that are panting. Correct? Then he goes on to say, فَالْمُرِيَاتِ قَدْحًا. Then those that produce fire when it strikes. فَالْمُغِيرَاتِ صُبْحًا. And those that make raids in the morning. 3 swears right now, correct? He's swearing by those that pant, meaning those horses that are panting. Then he's swearing by those that produce strike, or that produce fire when it strikes. When horses, because they have the horseshoes, when they strike the ground, what do? Sparks start to fly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is he doing? He's swearing by those sparks. And then what does he do? And I swear by those that raid in the morning. Who was it that raided in the morning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is swearing by? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these verses, he's swearing by that horse of Amir al-Mu'mineen that pants when it runs. He's swearing by the fire that sparks when the horse of Amir al-Mu'mineen is running. Then he's swearing by those riders that attack in the morning. Then he's swearing by Amir al-Mu'mineen himself. This is Surah Al-Adiyat. This is one of the reasons that Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam says that whoever, Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. This is one of the reasons that Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam says that whoever habitually, whoever continuously recites the surah, there will be a friend of Amir al-Mu'mineen in heaven. They will be under the protection of Amir al-Mu'mineen. They will be with Imam Ali alayhi salam in heaven. Why? Because the surah is about Amir al-Mu'mineen. The surah is about Amir al-Mu'mineen. But then when you keep going, what does it say? Innal insana li rabbihi lakanud. Most surely man is ungrateful to his Lord. Kanud here, a lot of the Mufassirin, they say that it means ungrateful. In the general sense, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a barakah, how many of us thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that barakah? And how many of us forget that this barakah that we've been given is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Most of the time, what do? We forget. We forget. If you want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the best way to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a barakah that He's given you is to do what? 2 salat or 2 rakat salatul shukr. 2 rakat salatul shukr. For any barakah that you believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave, all barakahs are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So how many of us actually do 2 rakat salatul shukr every time we get a barakah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What does that mean? That means that we forget that this barakah is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This forgetfulness, it ends up turning into ungratefulness. Even when you get barakah, what do you say? Or what do some people say? I wish I got more. I wish I had more. Instead of being grateful for the things that they have, they're ungrateful. Why? Because they didn't get more. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this verse that surely man is ungrateful to his Lord. To his Lord. That's the general. But a deeper meaning to this, when they asked Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam about the Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that the people that were ungrateful, the people that this verse is talking about is Abu Bakr and Umar. Why? Because when they went, they came back defeated. When they went with Amir al-Mu'mineen, as commander, Amir al-Mu'mineen came out victorious. And because Amir al-Mu'mineen came out victorious, They were ungrateful for that victory. They were ungrateful for that victory. Amir, the commander is what? What is the job of a commander? Alaykum salam. The commander is the one that takes care of the army. Right? What's the definition of Rab? A caretaker. A caretaker. This is why Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that what? He says that it was about those two. Why? Because they were ungrateful for their caretaker. Meaning what? The caretaker of that Hamla, the caretaker of that attack was Amir al-Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. They were ungrateful that the Muslims had won victory by the hands of Imam Ali alayhi salam. This is the deeper meaning of this verse. The general meaning, it applies to everyone. But this deeper meaning, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he says that it applies to these two people. Why? Because they were ungrateful. And then when you go on, وَإِنَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ لَشَهِيدٌ وَإِنَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ لَشَهِيدٌ. And most surely, he is a witness of that. He's a witness of what? He's a witness of the ungratefulness. Who is that witness? Who is that witness? According to some narrations or according to some mufassirin, that it goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is a witness to that ungratefulness. Correct? According to some other narrations and some other tafsirs of Quran, that he is the person himself. I myself become aware of the ungratefulness that I've had. Meaning what? Meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me a reward. I became ungrateful, thinking, why didn't I get more? Later on, I start to think, hold on a second, I should be grateful that I even got this. So now who was a witness to my ungratefulness? Myself. I was a witness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a witness to my ungratefulness, then I became a witness to my ungratefulness. But if you keep these verses in the context, meaning what? Meaning if the previous verse was revealed regarding Amir al-Mu'mineen, if the previous verse was revealed regarding Abu Bakr and Umar, meaning that they were the two that were ungrateful to their Lord, then who's the witness? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be the witness. They would be the witness. Amir al-Mu'mineen the witness. The witness, they are witnesses. Correct? وَإِنَّهُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ لَشَهِيدٌ وَإِنَّهُ لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٌ. It's this man that wants nothing more than wealth. They want wealth. After every battle, all the battles that the Holy Prophet fought in, the only reason the Muslims were in those battles was why? Was it because all the Muslims at that time, they wanted Islam to succeed? No. Most of the people that joined those battles was for the bounty that's left after the battle. Most of the people that joined those battles was why? Because after you kill someone, you're going to take their armor. You're going to take their sword. You're going to take whatever, their shield. You're going to take whatever they have. That was the reason. You're going to take their horse. Or Shaheed al-Himar, the person who was shaheed for the sake of a himar, for the sake of a donkey. This was the reason that a lot of the people, they went. This was the reason that a lot of the people, a lot of the Muslims, they went to war. A lot of the companions of the Holy Prophet, they went to war. Was why? Because of the spoils of war that would be left. What were they? All they wanted was that wealth. And when you look at, this is just human nature, wanting more. You win. Let's say you win $50 million in the lottery. Inshallah. Inshallah. Let's say you win $50 million. Would you not want to wish that you won another $100 million? pehle 50 million ho jaye, phir, but you still have that want. I wish I want more. I want more, that want. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants all of us to control. This want. What will happen? You win $50 million. Now the lottery is at $200 million. What are you going to do? You're going to? Now, how much are you going to spend? Some people, they'll spend the 50 million just why? Because, they could win 200 million. That greed. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants people to control, that greed. And this is what those Muslims at that time had. This is the problem that Muslims today have. Greed. To say that, they were the companion of the Holy Prophet, so they didn't have these vices. No, that's totally wrong. They were human beings. If they didn't have greed, then you look at all the Khalifas. Why was the third Khalifa, why was he killed? What was he doing with all the money? You look at Muawiyah, what was he doing with all the money? You look at Yazid, what was he doing with all the money? You look at Banu Abbas, what were they doing? How many palaces did they have? You look at the Saudi family today. How many palaces do they have? How many houses do they have in England? How many houses do they have here in the United States? Not just, $400,000, $500,000. No. 40, 50, 60 million dollar homes. And not just one, but many. Whose money is that? You all know? That's the money of the Muslims. You look at how those kings are living, and you go look at how our Maharaja are living. And then you tell me who's living the way the Holy Prophet lived. Our Maharaja or these kings? Who was living like the way the Holy Prophet did? Amir al-Mu'mineen or the Khulafa? These verses, they don't apply only to them, but they apply to us too. And then when you go on, أَفَلَا يَعْلَمُ إِذَا بُعْثِرَ مَا فِي الْقُبُورِ. Does he not know when what is in the grave, it will be raised? This man, does he not know that one day they will die and then they will be raised? Not only will they be raised, but what will happen? They will be questioned about everything that they had done. That's what the next verse says. Everything will be made apparent to them. Meaning what? They will see everything that they did. And then the final verse, إِنَّ رَبَّهُمْ بِهِمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ لَخَبِيرٌ. On that day, most surely their Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will be fully aware of everything that they had done. Will be fully aware of them. And this is the problem that we have. As soon as we leave, I'm not just talking about this applies to me too. Meaning what? As soon as we leave this place, we forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're here, we're thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And just think about that. Now do you understand how important atmosphere is? Now do you understand how important the place that you live in is? Meaning what? Meaning when you come to this place where you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're thinking of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the atmosphere you have for 1 hour, for 2 hours, whatever the case is. You're thinking of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once you leave this atmosphere, what do? You forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you apply this everywhere. Meaning what? We go for ziyarat, we're thinking about Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We come back from ziyarat, we forget about Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. We go to Najaf, we're thinking about Imam Ali. We come back from Najaf, we forget about Imam Ali. Should you be thinking about all of them the further you are from them, or should you be thinking more about them the closer you are? You should be thinking more about them the further you are. That longing should exist. You should be wanting to be or walk their footsteps. When you continue to think about them, then you start to say, hey, you know what, should I do this or no? This TV show, this haram TV show is on, should I watch it or no? When you're constantly conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you're constantly conscious of the Aima alayhi salam, the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, then you start to think like this. But you have to have that atmosphere. You have to instill that atmosphere within yourself. You have to instill it within yourself. Inna rabbahum bihim yawma idhin la khabir. On that day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be fully aware of them. He will show them everything that they've done. He will show them His greatness. When is that? When all of us raise up from the grave. And like I said, anyone that recites this surah continuously, they will have nothing to worry about. Why? Because they will be raised up with Amir al-Mu'mineen. They would have nothing to worry about. Why? Because Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, he himself, he says that what? Amir al-Mu'mineen would protect this individual. Anyone that continues to recite this surah. I'm going to end it here because I said, inshallah, the last 15 minutes we're going to do question answer. And inshallah, I believe next Saturday, I believe, Dad will come back. And then we'll be back to our regularly scheduled program. But if you all have any questions, we have 15 minutes. I'll be up here for 15 minutes. Yes. When is Ya'juj and Ma'juj going to come? One. What was the second one? Where are they going to come from? What was the third one? And what separate does it tell you in the Quran? Okay. So when it comes to Ya'juj and Ma'juj in English or in Christian terminology, they're known as Gog and Magog. Ya'juj and Ma'juj, we have that too. Ya'juj and Ma'juj, they are going to come towards the end of time. And there are narrations that state that it was Zulqarnain who is the one who, when he built that border, he built that border to keep them out. He built that border to keep them, that steel border that he built that border to keep Ya'juj and Ma'juj out. And we have some narrations that, in fact, it's in Sayyid Hashim Bahrani's Mu'jizat ala Muhammad, in the Mu'jiz of Amir al-Mu'mineen, where Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says that every day they're digging to try to come out from underneath it. And Amir al-Mu'mineen goes every day, once a day, and he closes it up. And they're going to come at the end of time, meaning after Imam Zaman, after all of that, okay? That is when. And then the what? What are they? Oh, where from? Now there is no place that it said that where they're from. But all we know is that the boundary that Zulqarnain created, they're behind that border, they're behind that boundary. But we don't know where that is. Okay? Now, Ya'juj and Ma'juj in the Quran, yes, I will have to get to you on that. It's not in my mind, on the top of my head, but it is in the Quran. It is in the Quran. Inshallah, next Thursday, I'll get to you. Okay? Before Ya'juj and Ma'juj? Before, no, okay. So what's supposed to happen is after Imam Zaman arrives, okay, he arrives, the government is formed, Imam Zaman alayhi salam, he gets shaheed, and then the imams are supposed to come back one after another, okay? Now, after they come back one after another, after that rujat, there are narrations that say that after that, then the time for resurrection, or the time for Day of Judgment will happen, the time for resurrection. And now, how long that is, we don't know, because some narrations, they said that when Imam Hussein, for example, comes back, he'll be ruling for 50,000 years. Now, if that's just the rule of Imam Hussein, 50,000 years, some narrations 5,000 years, there might be a mistake in the zeros, maybe, okay? But even 5,000 years, that's just the rule of Imam Hussein, okay? And then you have all the Imams coming back. नहीं 40 साल नहीं है. No. When he rises, Imam Zaman, he's going to look like he's 40. He's going to look like he's a 40-year-old man. But his hukumat is not 40 years. His hukumat, there are narrations that say that his hukumat is 70 years. 70. 70. हाँ, जहर से शहीद होगा. बाज़ रिवायतों में फिर रोजत शुरू होगा, फिर इमाम हुसैन आएंगे. बाज़ रिवायतों में ये कि फिर उसके बाद इमाम हुसैन आएंगे. बाज़ रिवायतों में ये कि उसके बाद 11वां इमाम आएंगे. रोजत, ये रोजत है. ये बात यही कहना ना. बाज़ रिवायतों में ये कि फिर 11वां इमाम आएंगे, फिर 10वां इमाम, फिर इस तरह से पीछे की तरफ. नहीं, बाज़ रिवायतों में नहीं, इमाम हुसैन आएंगे, फिर उसकी हुकूमत होगी. हाँ. रोजत में, हाँ. हाँ. उसके बाद नहीं, जब सारे इमाम वापस रोजत के बाद आएंगे, उसके बाद क़यामत होगी. याजूज और माजूज, अच्छा, हमारे उनके दरमियान इख्तिलाफ है. They say that they're going to come in the time of the 12th Imam. And we have narrations that say that no, it's not going to be the time of the 12th Imam, it's going to be at the end of time, by the end of time. Now, how long that is, we don't know. So there's a difference. No questions? Wow. नहीं, ये किसने कहा? ये किसने कहा? Look, okay, when Imam appears, it's not kumbaya. When Imam appears, just the way that Amir al-Mu'mineen fought for peace, Imam Zaman al-Islam is going to fight for peace. It's not Imam Zaman al-Islam, he appears and that's it, everything is, hunky-dory, everything is peaceful. No. War will happen. If it wouldn't happen, then why is there the first 10,000 people that were going to be in Mecca, they're going to pay bay'ah to Imam Zaman al-Islam? When Imam appears, Sufyan is also going to be there. There will be war. It's not as if, as soon as Imam Zaman appears, that's it, everything is good, we can all stay at home and rest. No. It wasn't like that in the Holy Prophet's time, it wasn't like that in Imam Ali's time. So do not expect it to be like that in Imam Zaman's time, no. Yeah, that's it. But some people have this idea, especially Shia, that when Imam Zaman appears, that's it, everything is going to be peaceful. No. After, when he establishes his hukumat, when he establishes his government, then yes, there will be peace. Peace in what sense? Peace in the sense that there will be treaties that will be signed. In that sense. But please don't think that as soon as Imam Zaman appears, everything is, no, everything is normal or everything is peaceful. If everything was peaceful, then why do we have narrations that say that as soon as you hear the call that Imam has appeared, go to him? What do you need to go to him for? I don't know about the 10 years, no. I don't know if it's the last 10 years. Because Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, he comes down too. When he comes down for who? Some narrations, they state that Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, where are Christians located now? Most of them are located in Europe. So that's why some narrations, they say that when Hazrat Isa alayhi salam comes down, yes, he will be in the government of Imam Zaman alayhi salam. So, but he's not coming back as with a new book. He's not coming back with new laws when Hazrat Isa alayhi salam comes back. No, he's coming back to tell the Christians what true Christianity was. He's coming to tell the Christians that, hey, the religion that I was following was this religion. The only difference was what? That I was the prophet of that time. That was it. Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, he's coming back to guide the Christians. Okay, now when it comes to how long the battles are going to be, there isn't any narrations that say that, oh, it's the battles, the Imam Zaman is going to be at war for 40 years, that he's going to be at war for 30 years, that he's going to be at war for 10 years. I haven't come across any narrations that tell me how long these battles are going to be. So I can't say, oh yes, it's going to be for 40 years, or it's going to be for 60 years and 10 years of peace. कौन? तो शहीद, अगर शहीद होंगे तो जन्नत जाएंगे? क्या मतलब? नहीं, उनके लिए सख्ती क्यों नहीं है? वो बातिल पर हैं. हम जब पहले से हक पर हैं तो सख्ती क्या? हाँ. हाँ, तो यही तो मक्के में भी हुआ था, यही तो मदीना में भी हुआ था. No, Shaykh, I know what you're trying to. I know what you're trying to say. That, you know what, they've been completely free all this time. Now when Hazrat Isa alayhi salam comes, they're going to pay bayat to Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. They're going to be in Imam Zaman's army, and then they're going to go. No, they still have the same wants that we do. The ones that believe in Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, they're going to become Muslims. Now, if you become a Muslim and you're shaheed, then you get the reward of a shaheed. All your previous sins will be forgiven. It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim who just converted or you've been a Muslim for so many years. A shaheed's a shaheed. Huh. जब मुसलमान बन जाएंगे, शिया बन जाएंगे, वो भी कट्टर होंगे. नहीं. The what? Shorts? You mean for like, are you talking about for stocks? Hmm? But even with short selling, you're borrowing the stock. Yes, because you own it, you're borrowing it. Yeah, but you're borrowing it from someone, right? Yes. But they're making that contract based on the price of that stock, right? Okay, so they're making that contract based on the price of that stock. So for that time period, you're holding that stock, are you not? Yeah. 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 So what are you buying back? So what is being bought and sold then? So the contract is being bought and sold. So then there is something that is being bought and sold. I know it's called surgeon, but I was under the impression that you were borrowing it and you were holding on to it. No, I know that, but the way I understood it was that, let's say, like, for example, the bank has it or whoever has it, okay? Or the way that a lot of these other, they do it now is that you're borrowing from other individuals that do have it. Now you're borrowing it, and when you're borrowing it, it's in your possession. That's how I understood it to be. Yeah. So then why, this is what I'm trying to say. Look, if you did not own it, if it wasn't in your hand, then why are you having to pay back more? It's a, if it's what you're saying, that you're not holding anything even for a little bit of time, yeah, if you're not in possession of anything, then you can't do it. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Look, no, no, the price can go up and down, but there is something. But there's something there that you're getting, or right? That's fine, but there's something there that's there, right? So with the car, there's something there that's there, but then with the, what's it called? Who's in possession of it? The bank is. You're not in possession of it. Do they loan it to you? So they loan it to you. So, no, this is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, if there's nothing in your possession, there's nothing that you can sell. You can't sell nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. Sharan, there's no such thing as selling nothing. You can only sell if you have something is there. Okay. Now, if it is the way Salman Bhai is saying that, hey, you know what? They're saying that it's kind of gambling. You're betting it to go down. The big sharks end up doing, right? No, Hassan, turn that off. Turn it off. Look, okay, with stocks, if you have to own something to be able to sell it. Okay, like from a shari point of view, I'm speaking from a shari'an point of view. Okay, you have to own something to sell it. Okay, it has to be in your possession. 3, it has to be halal. And we're talking about if we're talking about stocks now. Okay, with short selling, if you don't own it, then it's problematic that you sell something that you don't own. No, if it's not something that you own, it's not in your possession, it's not in your hands, then it's problematic that you're able to sell it. Okay? Now, with stocks themselves, you're owning stocks, so you can sell whenever you want, whether they go down or they go up. Okay? You're in possession of them, right?